Hello, Arnold, man. I'm so excited he's back. Let's talk about this show.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
What's up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to the channel. As always, we're talking the brand new TV show or movie on Netflix, and today's show is FUBAR. Is Arnold Schwarzenegger good in this series? Let's do it. So a CIA operative played by Arnold on the edge of retirement discovers a family secret and is called back into the field for one last job. Not only does this star Arnold, it also stars Monica Barbaro, who I immediately recognize from Top Gun Maverick. Gabriel Luna is in this series, and Jay Baruchel.
I hate it in there. I just want to drink some pop and smoke some weed.
And it is rated TV mature for some mild sex and nudity, severe gore and violence, profanity, which is where I want to start because you see the rating, it's TV mature, which tells me, may not be Game of Thrones, but it's not going to be for young audiences. And then you start to get into the plot and the shtick of it all, and you're like, well, it kind of feels like a family show. So it feels like a family show in a way, but it's also rated TV mature, and then you have cursing and some very adult themes. So this series has a bit of an identity crisis, but I'm not going to strike it too hard because I love me some Arnold, and the first episode is fascinating because it starts out and he's this really badass character. You're like, oh, but he's not who he used to be. He's on the edge of retirement, like the summary said, 1 foot out the door. But it is revealed to you in the first episode that there's something happening within the family that he not only has to resolve, he has to go back to work knowing this is the case, and he becomes closer to his daughter than he ever thought he would be. And it's so funny, you see how he feels about his daughter in that first episode. He's like, wow, literal perfection, did everything she was supposed to do. And she's continuing to stay on that path. Then something's revealed, and it's like, wait a second, no, this is not what I planned for. And as someone who's having a daughter soon, I see this and I'm like, oh my God, it could be that long, me not knowing the truth. Oh my God.
Marty, I'm scared.
Arnold also has his assistant in Barry. You have Rue, a couple of side characters, and, subplots that come into play, take away from the main premise, but I will give this show kudos for having one solid story arc that carries all the way through, even though there are distractions here and there. Almost all of the characters are charming, but again, it comes back to that rating. It's like, this is TV mature, and I feel like there are moments in here that are made for families. I do wish this series focused more on one single audience and played to that, because it does start to become a series and really a story that goes a bit all over the place. Like I said, one solid arc, one solid storyline, and really it comes down to the relationship between this father and his daughter. It gets to the point to where they're bickering so much they have to go to like this counseling session, and there are some interesting, very spy-centric techniques that are used to try to resolve those problems. So that was kind of fun to see. Again, it's charming, it's quirky.
Don't let me!
Some of these side characters that I actually found to be slightly entertaining. There's a romance or two thrown in there. His ex-wife, there's a very interesting relationship there, and he's even using some of his very spy-centric techniques to try to get her back. So that's another fun subplot, another fun storyline in there. And I keep using the word fun because this is a fun series, but there are some glaring flaws in here, and there are some issues that I continued to encounter all the way throughout, to where I sat back and said, this didn't have to be as long as it ended up being.
That's what she said.
I mean, look, 8 episodes, it's not all that bad, right? But when they're 45 to 55 minutes apiece, and it feels like a show that you should be able to binge watch, but it continues to get off the track, off the path that it's on all throughout the series. So you're focused on this one thing, and then it veers off, and it veers off again, and you're just like, okay, I get what we're doing. You have the charm of Arnold. Fabiana Udinio's nice as Tally. Jay Baruchel has his nice little storyline there that I actually found quite charming. Someone who is very boring, very bland, and his girlfriend is starting to see that. But Monica Barbaro, who plays Emma, and of course Arnold as Luke, those are the main two performances that I thought were great. And they both add their charm. It knows when to go back to that. I just wish it would have kept that focus all the way throughout. And then you have the action. And, it's not happening in the background, but it is something when you think back to this series. I'm going to think back to the relationships. I'm going to think back to some of those really quirky moments within the dialogue, some of the humor that doesn't always hit. It does miss quite often. But the action, it didn't have the impact. And with an Arnold Schwarzenegger-led action show on Netflix, yes, it's something that's not taking itself too seriously, but you want the action to at least be impactful. And for me, that's the most forgettable part of the series, because the mission that they're on and the people that they're after and the bad guys they encounter, I don't even remember their names. and I just watched the whole show. I mean, I remember Gabriel Luna's name as an actor, but I don't really remember his character's name. And then you have some of the special effects where, the budget you would expect, Netflix could pour a budget into a show like this, but some of the guns, when they're firing shots, it doesn't look all that legit. You have sound effects that at times are great, at other times just aren't the best. And those are simple things for a show to where maybe that's not its focus, but that's something that you should have put more time into. And I just didn't feel like the time was spent on that, as opposed to what a lot of people are going to be tuning into this show for. And that's the action, and that's the retired spy aspect of it all. And that for me was a miss, along with, like I said, some of that humor. So it's not a series that fully comes together, in my opinion. And it plays on some of those elements that you know from Arnold and characters that he's played in the past. And I'm not going to say there are cameos in here, but there are references and nostalgic bits, nostalgic moments that you're going to see. And if you're a fan of Arnold, you're going to be like, yeah, I like that they put that in there.
I understood that reference.
Before I give you my score, how do you feel about this brand new Netflix show? What is your favorite recent, we'll go like 2010s Arnold performance? And if you want to support this channel and drop that thumbs up, that would be awesome. In terms of being self-aware, not overly relying on the seriousness of each situation, FUBAR manages to embrace the necessary quirky tone. Even with a great lead duo, the story itself is occasionally all over the place, and the writing never finds its footing. This one will be a good one to binge for some. Others will have trouble binging it. But all in all, it is somewhat a missed opportunity with Arnold, but because Arnold's in it and that great chemistry, you've heard the review, you've watched the video, that's how I feel about this brand new Netflix show. I'm not opposed to seeing more. I did like the main relationship quite a bit. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.